Hello and welcome to the dungeon. Dayman here. Today we're going to be going over a boxing build. I know it's been highly requested in many dungeons where I ask people what they want to see for builds, and it's one that I have been experimenting with myself. I'm going to cut to the chase, and I'm going to let you see exactly how we're going to make the most out of our pseudo-boxing gloves. Most cudgel-type weapons allow you to choke up onto the head of the weapon, but I like these the most due to the fact that they have slightly more range, which is going to be a challenge to overcome within the dungeon. We'll talk more about that after we go into our exos. Now, there is a case to be made for the Stillness Mind perk, as any sort of passive recovery when you are the one face-to-face with an enemy is good. However, having Mystify, reducing the accuracy of ranged attacks, allows you to focus on the fight in front of you. Vitality, I experimented with Stillness and Armor like we did with the tank, but Vitality is going to be your best bet here, as it's going to allow you to stick around in that fight with that passive recovery. Haste is once again one of those options that's allowing you to work those angles, stay around that crescent step, and choking up, coming in, work the angle, stay around your opponent, make them follow you. You don't want to be staying head to head with that opponent. Instead, you're jumping to the side, you get around, you're taking those angles, working those angles. Now I know in boxing you're not necessarily punching them in the back, but also in boxing, your opponent isn't an undead warrior with a sword. So that is one of the reasons that we are going to reduce the option of their range while working ours. So haste or the leap ability are both great in terms of getting in and around an opponent. Criticals is something that I'll always talk about, but I've talked to ad nauseum. So for this one, we are going to be going power, as it will grant you the ability to get into that strike much easier. Another consideration here is realistic unholster. So if we go to our controls, let me see, or is it other? Yeah. If you do the realistic unholster, then it's far less likely for you to, while trying to drop that into position, making it less likely for it to re-sheath itself, making it much easier to create those boxing gloves without dropping your weapon into your hip again. As we go further into our loadouts, now, we already talked briefly about our boxing gloves, but let's look at the back weapon. It's going to be the Chrono Staff. This is going to allow you to... Ice Staff, there's a case for Ice Staff, but Chrono Staff is going to be more effective against bosses, where when you are up close and personal, it's going to be a much greater challenge. The next thing about the Chrono Staff is it allows you to thin out enemy lines, allowing you to focus down on a target one at a time, as well as take that target and slow them down, which is like having very keen fight sense. Right? You're so attuned to the battle, you can read your opponent's moves, get up and around them much easier, which I think is very thematic for a boxer. The other element when it comes to your weapons here, there is one hammer, only one hammer that I have found that allows you to get into that sort of boxing glove. Where are you? And it's this one here, as it allows you to hold into this position. However, if you look, the range is a little less than you will find in this spiked cudgel. So if you do want to be using this hammer, the reason I bring it up is because these sorts of hammers have access to the slowing ability naturally, as opposed to you having to rely on the staff at all times. So you can get a variety of this hammer with the slowing ability on it. Poison is also notable, as it allows you to daze your opponent and once again thin out that crowd and focus more in on a more vulnerable target. There is a variety of axe that has enough of a cut-in that allows you to kind of get in on it. There's a smaller axe, which I think is a hatchet variety. But if you notice, most axes will stop you from choking up and in onto it. So what we're looking for is this bad boy. Not only does it have a much larger striking head, and the thing about the axe, however, is you're not going to be doing a lot of throwing on your weapons, so getting those big explosions or otherwise axe-centered features aren't going to be as present. But this is one of the few axes that allows you to get up and close while creating additional range, which would not be present on the boxing glove with a cudgel. So considerations if you want to be working with greater range, not to mention ice. This is just the weapon I had for it. Ice is another great option because it will allow you to bust down those opponents with fewer strikes. And with that in mind, looking at these, the reason I picked these out with fire is because fire is going to grant me the most amount of power I can get out of my element. So each strike is coming through like a bomb, right? We're throwing bombs out here. When we're looking at how to make the most out of each of those strikes, however, we're also going to be looking at picking up power potions, haste potions, and ice potions. Bombs are another consideration if you don't yet have ice, and that's because power potions are going to allow those massive haymakers to be coming through with as much damage as they can be doing. Ice is going to clear out waves and allowing you to focus down on more one-on-one fights. Bombs will also do the same in clearing out waves away from you, allowing you to pick them off as they stand up. And haste was once again going to allow you to take more precise, well, not maybe less precise, but move in and around, get out and in, dealing with those targets, boom, boom, working those angles, getting as far in and around, invalidating their range by being able to jump in and jump out. With those considerations, you can have a lot more fun with that more hand-to-hand style combat, and I'm assuming if you're looking at being a boxer type character that you've already had some experience with it. So I don't have to go over how to chamber those strikes, but I will once again reiterate, you do want to be limiting your opponent's range by stepping off to the side and working the back and working the body, as opposed to having to simply rely on getting lucky of weaving in and out of their strikes, which timing is going to be the most important element for this fighting style. You wait for them to go with that swing, and they typically go one swing and around, and they will swing before they're in your range. That's another thing of noting. Most creatures will do a first swing outside of your range, allowing you to quickly move in and out, right? And with that in mind, you should be ready to go into that boxing match far more prepared. I hope that has helped you fulfill that power fantasy. And until next time, remember to wash your face and disinfect your face mask. Dayman out. Peace.